and welcome to Sell Me Fire. My name is Chris Exusion. You can find me at Chris Ebom on Twitter, and it's Canadian Open Week. We've had a little wait for the most part. I believe 2010, somewhere around that ballpark. I had to get somebody on here. I haven't made any bets yet, so I'm bringing a guy on that needs to sell me on a play here. I love him on Twitter. I always have great followers on Twitter, knowledgeable people, and he's definitely one of them. Golf Digest own Chris Powers. How you doing, Chris?
Very good, Chris. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate the knowledgeable tag for sure.
Yeah, sure, man. You're a Golf Digest writer, man. That's way more than I am. So I will tout you all day on that.
Appreciate it. I'm excited to be here. I've talked myself into this play here, so ready to roll.
All right, cool, man. Yeah, the deal is, if you have not seen it or not, either way, I'm always looking to rise a fire on bets. I don't want to leave a bet behind. I got great people that do tons of work and can hit plays, and I'm about winning money. So sell me some fire, man. What bet or DFS play do you got for me this week for the Canadian Open?
So I'm all in on our friend from England, Tyrrell Hatton. I believe he is 20-1 on DraftKings. I've seen as high as 28-1. I'm going to hop all over that in a second here. Top 10, top 20 at -120 seems sort of lockish. He's made 6 straight cuts, and he's gained over a stroke tee to green in all 5 of those 6 starts. The only one he did not was the Players, where he still managed a 13th place finish on a brutal weather week. So he battled there. But other than that, he's been pretty consistent tee to green. Popped at the PGA sneakily. I know he kind of ran his mouth, and that kind of makes you think, well, he must have missed the cut or played pretty badly. But he actually finished 13th at Southern Hills, gained a bunch of strokes tee to green. So we know he's kind of firing on all cylinders there. So he must have played really well to overcome his hatred of the course setup there at Southern Hills, and had a really good approach week there too. And I know that's going to be key this week. I was reading our boy PGA Touts, John Hasselbauer's preview, and he hammered home on approach and how distance is a bit mitigated here at this course, St. George's, which they haven't been since 2010, and before that, 1968. So not a lot to go off here, except Carl Pedersen's win, which was obviously he's obviously not a long hitter and a great putter, and that's why I really like Hatton. A lot is made about the Denny McCarthy's and Cam Smith and even Billy Horschel, the winner this past weekend. All great putters, but I think Hatton is just as good, if not better, than all of them. He's second on tour in strokes gained putting this year, so that's kind of what he keeps his rounds together, is making those long par putts, par saves, and obviously rolling in a bunch of birdies. And then last but not least, I think time off is very key in this play with Hatton. You go take a look at some of his best finishes over the last few years. He won at Bay Hill in 2020. He had 2 weeks off before that at 2020 BMW PGA over on the DP World Tour. He won there after 3 weeks off. Palmetto 2021, he finished runner-up, 3 weeks off leading into that. He finished second at Dunhill later that year, 3 weeks off before that. Arnold Palmer this past year, 2022, third place after a full month off. So I think he's the type of guy that uses the rest and recovery periods quite well. And he's coming in pretty strong still, even after that layoff, after Southern Hills finishing 13th and playing pretty well there. So a fully rested Hatton that has shown some strong signs as of late. I think he's kind of a sneaky play here at 28-1. A lot of people are going to be talking about the guys at the top of the board and trying to find some longer shots, because a longer shot could very well win this week in a weaker field at a course nobody knows. But I think Hatton's I hate to use the cliche flying under the radar, but I'm gonna roll with Hatton under the radar here.
All right, so you're selling me Hatton outright. I can dig it. You talked about his putting. His last 36 rounds, he's actually first on tour in putting, so that putter has been hot. I don't imagine it slowing down at any point. Really, the only time he had lost a putter in the longest time has been at the Masters, and that's kind of like, a course for the horse kind of green. You're either good on that green or not, so that could be thrown out the window for the most part. I hear he's loved in Canada for the most part. I hear he's a fan favorite, so it's hard to find a place where Hatton is truly a fan favorite. And you even talked about off the U.S. soil, he's been fantastic. I think that's something you can account for as well. And his irons are good. Every time I watch him play, his iron play is usually pretty fantastic, getting to the green, and his putting, like you said, has been fantastic. I can get on board with that. Even the top 20 you're talking about, I know that's kind of juicy a little bit with the juice against you, which is kind of a rarity in golf. But if you want to lay a little bit of juice, I think that's a good side as well. But I think you sold me on this Hatton outright. I think that's going to be the first bet I punch in here. Thank you for opening it up. The light is open for Terrell Hatton. Hopefully he doesn't break a club. At least he breaks a club, at least he can still putt, right?
Hey, you never know. I mean, he seems to play better when he's angry. So if he snaps a club, maybe it's because he's in contention and he hits a little wayward one. So I think it'll be a good sign if we see him on the TV this week and he's pissed off, because it'll mean he's at least in the fire here.
Well, you can always rely on Hatton to be muted at all times. So there's usually a lot of dead air space when he's playing. So always fun. You always wonder what he's saying to that ball when he kind of like misses a little shot. But hey, Chris, thanks for being on, taking a little time off for me. You know, you sold me on this play. I wasn't even honestly thinking about. I liked him a little bit, but I haven't had the best of luck with Hatton for the most part.
Me either.
I think you kind of sold me this week, you know. And you know what? I'm ready to rise and fire. That's the first bet I'm punching in. And what do we got that at 28-1?
28-1. I saw that's probably BetMGM. I think 27 at FanDuel. So as always, shop around, find the best number, and I think there's that's a really good number on Hatton in this field. It's kind of, you know, little top heavy and then drops off a little bit to the Finaus, and you know, Adam Hadwin's up there, obviously playing in his home country, but I think you might be able to strike on Hatton here at a pretty decent number.
Yeah, you got guys like HV3 that are right below him that really haven't won on PGA Tour yet. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm gonna spray a HV3 bet because I'm part of the HV3 support group. So I'm just gonna throw a little something on him every week because I don't want to miss out because I'll lose my mind. But Chris, thanks again for being on. You can find me at CPowers14 Golf Digest. You're gonna have some articles running up this week. What's going on with you this week?
Absolutely. We actually just recorded the guest spot for tomorrow's podcast. Be right. We'll record the full podcast tomorrow. I'll say this, the guest is a prominent caddy for someone who just left for the Live Golf Tour. So awesome. Just a little tease there. It'll be live tomorrow. We'll have picks for Canadian Open and all that, maybe even some Live picks. So keep an eye out for that tomorrow.
Absolutely, man. PGA golf is the best sport to bet, hands down. I tell people the bets are on your side and the sweat is awesome. Thanks again, Chris. Let's rise and fire.